Well, I'm sure you've heard the standard business and career advice that you need to specialize as much as possible. So, if you want to be a dog walker, you don't want to be a dog walker. You want to be someone who walks only poodles on the Upper West Side for old ladies between 75 and 90 years of age. So you can really reach in and grab that demographic and become the go-to person for poodle walkers on the Upper West Side for old ladies, or whatever it might be. And I'm sure that works. Obviously, there are people who specialize and become extremely good at what they do, and they do become the go-to person. But I think life is changing. I think the world is changing. It's becoming more complicated. It's becoming riskier. It's becoming a whole lot stranger. I'm Angel Miller, consultant, hypnotist, author of The Three Stages of Initiatic Spirituality and The Path of the Warrior Mystic, Being a Man in an Age of Chaos. And I want to talk about the three archetypes in my book very briefly, and how we can use these to really kind of crush the new year and really get where we want to be, or at least sort of travel further down that road. And I take a totally different opinion to this idea of specializing. I think that we need more influences and we need to be more of a generalist. Of course, we should be good at maybe one specific thing, but we need to bring in other influences. When you think about the real greats in any profession, very often they have influences from outside. They have some unusual, highly unusual living background. There's a child maybe moving all over the world, or something happened to them. They had to overcome some sort of terrible illness, or they've specialized in something before they found what they were really great at. Think for example David Bowie, singer-songwriter, but also a painter and an actor. Yukio Mishima, author, orchestra conductor, actor, martial artist, bodybuilder. Even Samuel Morse, the inventor of Morse code, studied painting and later mathematics and philosophy. So, if you want to be great at something, not just an expert, but actually a master of something where you can kind of go beyond what other people have done, you need these other influences. You need to connect to different worlds to see partly what's going on, partly to bring in new information, and partly because these other worlds would become a metaphor for your own. If you study, for example, martial arts, I studied martial arts with one school for 10 years, where they would compare the process of learning a martial art to the process of learning literature. So you see these metaphors, right? You could reverse it if you want to learn how to be an author. You could use martial arts as a metaphor, or learning music or something else. They all sort of coalesce in a weird way. All right, so let's get to the three different archetypes: craftsman, warrior, magician. No, I don't mean these literally, that you should become a potter and then a samurai or anything like that. I'm talking about what's the sort of essence in these three archetypes that we can use to kind of forge our own life, our own world. Well, first of all, let's start with the craftsman. True, it is probably related more to the visual arts than anything else, especially painting or something like that. But I think when we think of the craftsman, the qualities are consistency, commitment, really learning a skill as best as we can. One of the big problems in America, and maybe in the Western world more generally, is that people feel that they can sort of jump over the practice, that they don't need to do the basics, that they can skip right to the end and just be a professional in it. This is not true in any area. If you want to be really, really good, if you want to be the best at what you do, you need to begin with the basics, really understand everything, and just progress and learn gradually. So commitment, consistency, and really learning, taking time to learn a skill, whatever it is. With the warrior, we have energy, and dynamism, of course. We need to take risks. I think more and more in the modern world, or postmodern world, whatever it may be, we are encouraged not to take risks, especially young people. We're encouraged to be, safe, make sure we're safe, to not sort of progress outside of the boundaries that have been set up to keep us safe, whether that's at work or at university or just in the world in general. But, I'm sorry, you have to take risks, manageable risks. I mean, you have to know the difference between a risk that's going to destroy you if it goes wrong, and one that if it goes wrong, it's no big deal. Maybe you lost a little bit of money, but you can afford it, or you lost some time. But if you can afford to take a risk, take that risk. Don't take one that you can't afford to take. So that means planning as well, right? Obviously, the warrior is associated with strategy and tactics. You want to plan and take those risks that are manageable if they go wrong. But you always want to push yourself out of your comfort zone. So with the magician, what is the magician about? Well, we could say illusion, but another way of putting it would be thinking differently, persuasion, and even this sort of idea of consciousness, of manipulating consciousness, whether it's our own or other people. So an entertainer is manipulating people's consciousness. Coming back to the idea of persuasion, whether you go for an interview or you're putting on a presentation, whatever you need to do in the world, maybe you're giving a public speech, a public talk, a lecture, you need to persuade people, right? And that is, it's partly through language, it's partly through posture, it's maybe even partly through clothing and this kind of thing. But they all have an effect. And you want to have an effect in the world, really. You want to leave your mark. You want to be able to persuade people, not because you're some manipulative, Machiavellian individual. You want to persuade people of what is better for them, what is right in the situation, what's going to be better for everyone, or to step up a level as well. The persuasion is not some evil thing. It's help. If it's used in the right way, it's helping people to step up and be even better than they are now. So let's just recap. Craftsman, we have consistency, commitment, learning a skill, making sure we learn the basics so we're not tripped up later on. The warrior, energy, dynamism, taking manageable risks, not crazy risks, but manageable risks, where if it goes wrong, it doesn't matter. It's not really going to affect us, but we can keep pushing the boundaries, keep moving forward. And then the magician, thinking differently. Again, think of those different influences you can bring in, like David Bowie or Mishima or Samuel Morse. Thinking differently, persuasion, understanding consciousness and how consciousness changes, whether that's other people's or our own, particularly through language, I would say. But if you can do those things, consistency, learn a skill, commitment, energy, take risks, persuade people, have an effect in the world. If you can do that, you're going to make your mark in the world, and you better forge a path forward, which may be different to other people. In fact, it almost certainly will be different to other people. But I don't necessarily think that this sort of specializing and being very myopic is going to work for everyone in this age in which AI is disrupting everything, and it seems like there's a different disruption every week and something unexpected, and life is complicated. So think about those three archetypes. Think about what lessons you can quickly draw from them, and how you can sort of develop yourself as a whole. Well, thanks very much. You can check out my website, angelmillar.com, link below, and I will see you soon. Thanks very much.